I'll be more than happy to answer them. This is going to be more of a Q&A than a presentation. So hopefully I'll be able to keep you all up a little bit this morning.
Think of a product, any product. Supply chain management refers to everything involved in planning, controlling, and executing its flow from its conception to delivery. From purchasing materials to production and manufacturing to final distribution, supply chain management intends to streamline this product flow and make it as cost-effective as possible. While that sounds simple, SCM is an expansive and complex undertaking that relies heavily on every partner involved in the process. A basic supply chain might consist of a company, suppliers, and customers. But a more complex supply chain might include multiple layers of suppliers and customers, and countless third parties, including logistics providers, financial organizations, software vendors, and marketing researchers. In fact, most enterprise-grade supply chains resemble a web more than a linear chain. Fortunately, SCM software helps companies manage all the moving parts and is available for specific SCM areas, including planning, execution, visibility, and tasking. SCM benefits both companies and customers by optimizing production times and delivery methods, getting the right product to the right place at the right time. SCM can lower overall operating costs, potentially eliminating the need for large fixed assets like warehouses and transport vehicles, and potentially improve cash flow. Take a look at the really big picture. And supply chain infrastructures make life better for you and me, with things like railroads, highways, and airports supporting the low-cost sharing of goods, promoting economic growth, and offering a higher standard of living.
Thank you, Sherry. As you can see, it's procurement and supply chain management is a little bit more than just pretty much walking in my office and saying, hey, Chris, I need to get this. And I kind of look under the desk of the L's and the L's produce it. Supply chain management, it really takes a lot of everybody getting involved. Most of the time, me as a procurement officer, the end user comes in and they tell me what they need. And we kind of form a scope of work from there, and we kind of develop how going about getting those items or services or goods. So it's just not as simple as just walking in and a Walmart and just being able to purchase things, especially with working with the Commonwealth of Virginia. It takes a little bit more of effort, reaching out to certain vendors, posting bids and things of that nature. So at this point, with DHCD, of course, Commonwealth of Virginia, we utilize a system called eVA. Now, eVA is our electronic procurement system, is what we call it. So with eVA, we pretty much able to find vendors, locate them via commodity code, and being able to reach out to those vendors and let them know the good or services we need. Now, we use it as a Commonwealth, agency, pretty much in depth. But you as the public can also use it also to kind of look at transparency of what we got going on. And you also can utilize the vendors that we utilize also and be able to review those. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share a screen and give you a little background on eVA. So basically, this is the story of eVA. eVA was incepted in 2001. That's when we first started utilizing this tool. Just a heads up also, we will be moving over to a different platform, a newer platform in May. So things may change a little bit, but I think the sections and the parts that you all be utilizing should stay fairly the same. So basically, about 10,000 opportunities are posted publicly annually. So basically, we utilize what we call a Virginia Business Opportunity website, and you can go out and see all the postings that we have. And just a future note, and eventually all our grants opportunities may be posted out there also. It depends on how everything goes with the General Assembly. Like I said, it's used by more than 245 state agencies, institutions in higher ed, and 900 more local governments and public bodies to announce their bid opportunities, receive quotes, order placement and approvals, and contract management and more. We have over, I would say this probably number is probably a little bit higher than what it's showing, but it's probably over 100,000 vendors registered with eVA. So you can actually, as the public, can go out and see those vendors, and more than lovely for you all to utilize those vendors also. Utilizing this system cuts down a little bit of the admin and a little bit of other things that kind of could be cost savings when we are doing this, because we are actually reaching out to more and more of the public. So we actually save about 25 million annually on utilizing the eVA system and purchase orders issued annually. So it's been a great tool. It's a great tool to actually get everything out to the public, get it out to other vendors, and let it get more and more people bidding on it, so we can have more and more cost savings. We have a newer system called Quick Quote, which is a little bit quicker than, say, your average RFP. And usually these are our, what we consider small purchase quick quotes. Usually they're around $100,000 is the projected budget for these, but we actually set these aside for small businesses to actually utilize. I'm gonna stop presenting and just give you a little background on what is eVA. So like I mentioned earlier, eVA is Virginia's online electronic procurement system. eVA is used by more than 13,000 state agencies, local governments, buyers to announce bidding opportunities to get quotes and place orders. Basically, if you have a vendor out there that needs to be registered, vendor wants to be registered and wants to do business with the state government, this is what you probably would send them, and it can be useful to you all also. Some nonprofits are registered with eVA. Of course, we have lots and lots of local governments share that actually share the system also. So if you have any questions or are being interested in registering eVA, just please reach out to me, and they'll pass on you my contact information, so you'll be I'll be able to help you, assist you getting started with eVA if you like. I'm not going to go over this entire document, but what I'll do is, like I said, it's posted online. Both of these documents are posted online into the website, so you'll be able to access them. So I won't have to go over all of them. But just to go over a little bit more of it, I think I switched off the one I needed. But what am I getting free? It's free access to business opportunities online, free public reports you can use, go out, see who's buying and what you sell, free registration. You get notifications all the time of what's out there, opportunities. And like I said, grant opportunities may be out there soon. It's free online bidding, free catalogs so buyers can find you more easily when shopping through eVA, and it's free support through eVA customer care. Additional resources, the vendor manual is pretty much a manual that lets you know how Commonwealth conducts businesses. It has some terms and conditions, have rules and policy and regulations of being a vendor. It also has commodity code and NIGP code lookup, and I'll get a little bit more in depth in that when I actually show you how to look in the system and look up a vendor. But basically, we use commodity codes to define a product that we're looking for. And also, have state contracts found on the website, provides access to the state's current contracts and helping you identify if your goods or services are purchased this way. So what I'm going to do now is to show you a little bit of eVA. So this is the home page for eVA right here. Like I said, being the home page, you don't have to have a login, and you can find out a whole lot of information about how the state conducts businesses, the business opportunities, state contracts, and other resources. Just hovering over this business opportunities website, you'll see Virginia Business Opportunities, VBO is what we call it. Now, this site is open to the public. You can go out and see all our solicitations, seeing what each agency has. Basically, you can just type in an agency's name, and it will show you the business opportunities out there. Click on it a little bit to see if it'll show it to you. But you can look at it by category. You can look at it by entity, opportunity type. All sorts of ways to search and see what's out there. And like I said, eventually grants may be posted out there also. If you transparency, basically you can search for orders, suppliers, and contracts. You can look up their eVA vendor list, which I think will be highly important for you all if you're looking to find, if you got a commodity code that you can't find a vendor. I think this would be a good source to actually locate a vendor to maybe help you provide a good or service. And I'm gonna click on the eVA vendor list. Take a while.
So Chris, while that's doing what it's doing, you know, I'm gonna put on my Captain Obvious hat and ask a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
So the commodity codes, are the commodity codes listed? Are they shown in eVA somewhere?
Yes. Can you see this screen, or are you still just seeing the home page?
I'm seeing a screen that says emergency procurement information.
It's the home page, Chris.
It's still the home page. All right, well, I'm gonna stroll down to this, but if you stroll down, you also have the eVA vendor list this way.
Okay. And so if I were a nonprofit or a for-profit that, for instance, wanted to expand my grant management business, I could register in eVA so that people looking would see that I'm available to do grants management.
Correct. Yes, you could. And
if I'm a locality or a nonprofit looking for a grants manager or looking to buy these widgets or whatever, I can find that information in here as well.
correct. And now, can you see the eVA vendor list screen now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so basically this is pretty much how you can search for a vendor in eVA. Like I said, there's no login required, so anybody can actually do this. You can enter by the vendor name, location, vendor customer code, things of that nature. So if you knew a vendor that you're looking for, you can put it there. And I'm just going to go over to the right, the SWaM type. I'm not sure if all of you are familiar with the SWaM program with the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Please tell us about it.
But we do have certain criteria and certain policies geared towards doing business with small women and minority-owned businesses. If a business, and also micro, which is a fairly new certification, with micro vendors, anything that we do as an agency under $10,000 is set aside for these businesses. These businesses are businesses with less than 25 employees and gross less than $3 million over the last 3 years. So if you're actually looking for that certain type of vendor under the SWaM categories, you would just click on one of these and go from there. Like I said, we have some new ones that just added, like service disabled veterans and employment service organizations also. So if you're actually looking for something really specific, like I'm looking for a small or micro business, you just would click on one of those. Just going over registration type, some people are self-registered and some are state entered. Self-registered is pretty much you do it yourself. You just go through the process with Department procurement services and get your registration, and that's called self-register. State entered are more like if you're on a state contract or something like that, we actually do the entry in it for you. So basically, like I said, also with our commodity code classes, like Amanda mentions, basically if we have a pencil is assigned a number. So basically, if we're looking for a pencil, we'll enter that commodity code. I'm not sure how this is going to show on your end, but I'll show it anyway. And feel free to ask any questions while this is loading, please. So basically, this is our commodity code list right there, that you're looking at right now. So, you know, if it goes on down the list, they're not, you know, specific to certain things. It's more of a category. So say, for instance, if you're looking for trailers, you would just click trailers.
Chris, Elizabeth has her hand raised.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Hey, Chris.
Hello.
So, hi. So if I'm a grantee, for example, and I'm looking to send out an RFP to engineering firms, and I want to make sure that I include in that list minority and female-owned businesses. Can you explain how someone would search eVA to identify registered MBEs, FBEs, engineers?
You said just engineers, or?
Yeah, we're just looking for an engineer.
Okay, so basically,
and we're trying to target minority and female-owned engineering firms. How would we go about doing that?
so basically, like I said, you would look on this commodity code list and look up engineering. And if you were specifically looking for a small one, in the other tab I showed you, you pretty much just select the class of SWaM that you're looking for. If you're looking for a minority, or if you're looking for a small business, you would just click that. And basically what this would do would bring up all of the vendors that are listed under that commodity code.
And if I expect my contract to be greater than $10,000, which I am, how would I do it then?
Basically, if you expect it to be more than $10,000, we would use the quick quote process. So basically, we would build the scope of work and post it out on the quick quote, the VBO site, and vendors would bid on it based off that. And like I said, the vendors that you reach will be based off where they signed under the commodity code.
But if I'm, for example, Smithfield, and I'm just looking for the names of minority and female-owned engineering firms to add to my vendor list, is there a way to do that?
Yes, I'll go back to that in a little bit, Elizabeth. But
Thank you.
I think this is still loaded a little bit. See if I would go to another page, maybe I can pull it up that way. Go back here. Can you see the eVA vendor list screen again?
No. Now you're presenting.
Okay. And getting to your question, Elizabeth. So for instance, like you said, these are the SWaM types. So if you're looking for a certain SWaM type, you would just click one of these. And then you would basically put the commodity code in for the engineering. And then once you do that, let's see. you hit search. And this pretty much, I use Trellis as mine, but pretty much it would give you the vendors that actually provide the services for engineering. And the SWaM type is here. So this vendor here is a micro business, it's a small business, and it's a woman-owned business.
Oh, that's really easy. Thank you.
Yeah, and then like I said, you can also look it up by zip code. You know, if you're, whatever you're in, you can put the zip code in, and it can give you a list of vendors that's in your area also. And that's pretty much the quick and easy way to actually search vendors and see the services they provide. If you click on them,
So Chris, is it just as easy to determine whether or not a contractor I'm looking at awarding a contract to has been debarred or excluded from getting contracts that have state funds?
yes, we do. On that page also in the corner, you'll see something that says debarred, and that'll give you the debarment list. And this is just the information on the vendor that once you look up and you say you click on a vendor, it gives you a little background on the vendor. It gives you the business, the SWaM information, they are certified. I mean, even up to how much purchase dollars they made working with the Commonwealth. And this list right here is the list of the commodity codes that the vendor is listed under. So anytime if you enter one of these commodity codes, this vendor would come up. And it gives you the contact information. It gives you the address. And like I said, it provides you their eVA status and headquarters and all that good information about the vendor also. But basically, like I said, that's it. I think that's be the most beneficial part for you guys is to be able to search and being able to locate vendors to provide you goods or services. And hopefully that will help you out. I know we've used it with Susan a lot for Susan Hill with the lead program to find lead vendors and things of that nature. So it's been very useful. It's simple. Like I said, you don't have to have a login. These things are open to the public. And I just recommend to get out there and just play around with it. I'll put the link to eVA into the chat, so y'all be able to locate it. But at this point, if you got any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Hi, Chris. This is Joanne. Good morning.
Good morning, Joanne. How are you doing this morning?
I'm great. Thank you. And so these vendors have been vetted more or less, but we can just get their information and include them on our bidders list or to contact them to get 3 quotes or whatever. Is that what we do next after they are identified?
Yeah, sure. After you identify, yeah, you definitely can do that. Of course, us as an agency, we have different, of course, rules and regulations, but, the public grantees, things of that nature, yes, that's pretty much what you can utilize.
Thank you.
Hello, Catherine. I see you got your hand raised.
Yes, I just wanted to know, can we search, do we need the NIGP code, or can we just search by keyword, like say engineer or, rehab specialist or something like that?
You can. I found it kind of hard just to type in, say something like engineer. It may come up. The commodity codes are kind of vague because it is categorized.
Right.
But it may possibly come up that way.
Okay. Thank you.
But like I said, the commodity code list is out there. So, you just pretty much, able to access that list and go down that list. You should be able to find what you're looking for.
Chris, you have some questions in chat too. I'm not sure if you can see them.
Can those searches be exported into Excel?
Yes, they can be Excel or PDF file or CVS file. I think I said that right, but I'm not IT, but yeah, you can convert it into 3 multiple versions. Yes.
And in order to register for EVA, who needs to do that in the grantee's agency?
I'm not sure who. Basically, you just reach out to EVA customer care, or if you go out to the link the link I sent you on that first page, you can reach in there and say I would like to register. With EVA, it has a tab for that also. It's called I want to sell to Virginia, and you'll be able to do that way.
So the registration is required if we want to sell to Virginia. But if we want to use this as a way to identify new and more entities who might bid on our work, do we need to register for that as well, Chris?
No, that's why I just showed you this part. You don't need a login or registration or anything at that step. You know, just pretty much go to that evavirginia.gov, and you can look up the vendors list and pretty much go from there.
So if I'm not having the luck that I want, if I'm not getting the response that I'd hoped for in bidding out housing rehabs, it might be useful to come to EVA and see who's showing up as a contractor with the specifics that I'm looking for.
Correct.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely a great source to locate vendors, and it just, reaching out to them and requesting information. We utilize it a lot to pretty much develop our scope of work. So we may reach out to a vendor and do a request for information, and maybe provide us a little background on what we're looking for. That way, when we develop our scope and submit the bid out, we pretty much know we're going to reach our targeted audience at that point.
Chris, can you see the questions that are populating the chat?
Sorry, I'm trying to read the question. Once an IFB or RFP is posted on EVA, oh wait, that's the answer. Wait, no. It automatically goes to all SWaM businesses registered in the commodities list?
Correct. You can basically, once you put the commodity code, if that business is registered under that commodity code, whether if it's SWaM or not, it will show up. Now you can kind of, narrow your search down a little bit, by clicking, maybe micro, small, women or minority, but it still will put those kind of up front, but the other ones will still, that's listed on that commodity code, will still show.
So it sounds like choosing the right commodity code or codes is really key to this.
Yeah, it's just basically knowing what you want. Basically, good or service. You should be able to find some vendor that's registered under that commodity.
Well, that's always the $64,000 question, isn't it? Just what do I want?
Yeah.
And here's a CDBG question. Is it protocol for the grantee to post the RFP for the contractor or engineering services, or can the consultant do it on behalf of the locality?
I think it might be a Sherry Amanda question.
Actually, I think if you come on down, Elizabeth has answered that as long as the contact information is for the grantee, the grant manager can post it. But the responses, to expand that, the responses to the RFP must go to the grantee. It's that whole chain of custody thing. It needs to go to the grantee. And then it looks like Mary Foley has another question as well. Jessica, if you'll go through that.
When the vendor list shows up, does it just give you the contact information on eBay, or does Or does it show up on EVA as a potential opportunity, but the vendor needs to be checking EVA? I think who's going to be sending out the reaching out to the vendors?
So basically, when I'm thinking as DHCD, like I said, when we submit that solicitation or RFP, we assign a commodity code to that RFP, and we can assign multiple commodity codes. It just, so most of the time it's 2 or 3. But when we submit it and post it, that information is shot out to those vendors. The system itself actually reaches out to the vendors and let them know that there's a solicitation out there that's under their commodity code.
Let me make sure I understand that. Captain Obvious said. If I post an RFP, I'm Acme County, okay? And Acme County posts an RFP for a particular kind of widget. That RFP automatically, or to use the word of a prior colleague of ours, automagically goes directly to the vendors who are part of the EVA system, who have already registered and identified that commodity code as something that they are interested in providing.
Correct.
So,
Yes.
so Acme County just posts it on EVA and the information then comes pouring in.
Correct. Yeah, most of the time once you post it, get ready for your phone to start ringing because you get vendor after vendor calling. But yeah, it's sent out to the vendor automatically. Once you post it, it's gone out there and it's submitted. Yeah, and vendors see it and see it and see it, and then they'll come calling and calling. You have another question, Elizabeth?
EB.
So, Chris, one of the requirements we have is that the grantee documents their procurement file with the list of everybody who received a copy of the RFP notification or the RFP. So I'm assuming there's some way they can, based on what you said before, there's some way they can download the list of everybody who either was notified or got a copy of the RFP.
Yes, I mean, I'm just saying this as a state agency because we enter our RFPs and IFBs in that system. So basically, once we submit it, it'll send us a list of the vendors contacted via the solicitation. So they will send us, we have a list of vendors that were contacted.
Thank you.
Yes, Mary, I would check to see how you are set up in EVA because like I said, if you don't check certain boxes, you might not get certain notifications. That is true. So I would go back and, revisit, you see how you are registered.
And I think this is a program manager question. If you can see the posting in EVA, why do we need to have the vendor list to prove it went out?
Sure, Amanda, that might be.
I can answer that question. Most of our procurement requires that we have a bidder's tabulation or some type of evidence that a solicitation was made. You may have solicited 50 vendors, but only 5 responded. And so you want to have all of that information in your files to show that it was competitive, that people were made aware of the commodity, the good or services that you're looking for, and these were your responses. So be sure to document anything that comes back from EVA based on your solicitation, your RFP. Does that answer the question?
Yes, ma'am. And so just for clarity, do we need to document only those that have responded? Not, again, not the list of every vendor that received the RFP or IFB?
Certainly those that responded, but if it's as simple as printing out a list of who received the solicitation, that would be something good to add to your files. As I said, 50 people, saw this request for proposals, but these were the 5 that appear on your bid tabulation form.
So
Okay, thank
Sanji,
you.
if you don't get the required 4 bids, you're going to want to document somehow that you tried to get 4 bids. And one of the ways you do that is show who you sent the bid out to.
Okay. It just seems that on eVA, obviously you're soliciting way more, vendors than are honestly required. So I was just trying to clarify, do we need to document every single vendor that it would have went out to, or just those that responded?
Totally get the question, Sanji. Thanks for asking. My concern of not capturing that list is there are a couple points to it. One is, how long does eVA keep that information? So, if we were still operating in a face-to-face world as opposed to a virtual world, let's say 5 years after your project closes, HUD chooses it to monitor, right? And at that point, they say, oh, you only got 2 responses to your RFP. And everybody, oh, no, this went out to 500 people. How do you know that? Where's your list? And if eVA does not keep information that long, it could be a problem. From what I'm hearing from Chris, it is a fairly simple matter to capture the information. And if it is easy to capture, it's best to have it in your file.
And if you utilize eVA as we do as a state agency, like I said, it goes way back. It doesn't disappear. You can see that solicitation that I've done probably back in 2010. So, it stays there pretty much.
And also, can't you, in your responses, like say, I'm just going to use a generic engineer. Well, if you check the eVA site, you'll probably get like 200. Correct. But you can also limit it by your zip code too, right? So you can get those that are within a radius of your location, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that might help, Sanji, in limiting your scope by using the zip codes.
With all of that information, I'm going to say that it's absolutely a best practice to have it in your files.
Yeah, that's the number 1 rule for procurement. Document.
Yeah.
And the same goes for compliance. So we're all on the same page. We are going to wrap up so that we can kind of stay on track. Everyone, thank you so much. Christopher, this was absolutely amazing. And Mary had a great idea in that this should be a much larger and longer training. So it has gone into our thinking caps to do that. So stay tuned, Christopher, because I have a feeling you're coming back for 2.0.
Okay, I'll bring some help with me, get a little bit more in depth.
All right. We are going to take a break. It is